Life is all there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads take me.
But when the fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled, you must rebuild.
What's up, everyone? Today I got another Fallout video for you guys. I'm just going to be talking about all the 4chan leaks and everything that's been coming out for Fallout 76, and how some of them are definitely possible for the series and some of them aren't. As you guys may know, I'm a big Rust player, and there's been a lot of controversy whether this game's going to be a Rust clone, as it's been stated multiple times from multiple sources. I'm going to be going over how that's basically impossible for the Fallout franchise and why it'll never be like Rust is. I have over 3,000 hours in that game, and I sure do know a lot about the game, and I do know a lot about Fallout, so they're definitely very different and could never be created into the same type of game. So a 4chan user actually that claims to know a lot about the game, he claims to be a source insider about all of Bethesda's whereabouts for this game and everything, and he says a lot of things that are quite interesting and quite detailed, that are pretty surprising in my opinion, and it basically gives out what the game's gonna be, and he's trying to explain that Bethesda is trying to hide all this so that the hype doesn't go in the wrong direction, and this obviously makes a lot of sense. So some of the things he has been saying, it's an open world game with improvised weapons and is base building centered, which I've already thought before that this game's going to be heavily based on settlement building just because of the time period that it's supposedly set in. Civilization's not a big thing because it's only occurring about 20 years, 30 years after the nuclear war that happened in the Fallout universe. So definitely a big emphasis on settlement building and everything. The next thing he says is, we'll feature a scavenger from the surface as a main character, hence why the vault seems empty other than the main character in the trailer. This is an interesting point because everyone keeps thinking that this Fallout is going to be another Fallout Vault character type game, and this certainly makes sense with everything else that he's saying, that it'll be more of a scavenger living in the vault rather than being from the vault. So that's not a big deal. It's more like a Fallout New Vegas type thing where it's an outsider, not really a vault guy. So interesting right there. But another thing he says is co-op but not MMO or Rust-like. Now, MMO, we all know what MMOs are. They're basically just tons of people online together playing a game, and they're set up so that it's very encouraging to be multiplayer, and usually you can't play like a single player element, so that's clear enough. But the Rust-like thing, Rust isn't a super big game, and a lot of people don't know about it, but I just so happen to play it all the time, and I know a lot about it, and what I can say is that the Fallout game is just not set up to be how Rust is. Rust is very non-story based. It has no story behind it. It's mostly about killing, looting, raiding other bases, and the Fallout franchise has never really been about that, and they'd be making a mistake to go in that direction. In terms of raiding bases in Rust, it's a big deal. That's basically what you set yourself up for, to defeat your enemies and everything. And Rust relies a lot on explosive devices and ways to make your fort or base very fortified and hard to raid and stuff like that. And it's a super grindy game, especially on vanilla. So I just don't think it's possible for the Fallout games to head in that direction, and it'd definitely be a mistake by the Bethesda team to do that. So the source also claims that Bethesda is in panic mode at these rumors and want to release further info soon to cut it off. Now this is obviously pretty easy to understand, just because they don't want the hype to go in the wrong direction or something like that, so people don't lose interest in the title and they just want E3 to be as successful as possible. That's understandable, but they don't want to release too much before E3 to like get false narratives and everything on the game. Expect another leak, a more reputable source soon. We don't know who that is yet. It could have been Jason Schreier, as I talked about in a different video, but it really could be anyone. And he had some pretty detailed stuff in his tweet, so that might be the guy that this 4chan user is referring to. Another big important thing is that this game is still an RPG. A lot of people seem to think that this game is steering away from the old Fallout ways and RPG single player type thing. This is important and I think very exciting for a lot of people. If this is the case, of course, that is still in the RPG spectrum. I think that Fallout and Bethesda would be making a huge mistake not to go back to the RPG single player thing, because that's what everyone enjoys and keeps dwelling on that they want. Another important thing, an upgraded Fallout 4 creation engine. I noticed this in the trailer a lot. It did look a lot like Fallout 4. In fact, if you showed me that in some ultra setting PC gameplay for Fallout 4, I really could not tell the difference. So I don't think that graphics is a huge focus on this game, which nobody cares because Fallout 4 already looked nice as is, and Fallout 3 and New Vegas look nice even today, so it's not that big of a deal. That's just a small minor detail. He also states that we'll also announce Elder Scrolls title at E3. That's pretty crazy to me. I don't know how they're going to announce two games, Fallout and Elder Scrolls, in the same year at E3. We'll just get more info on that when the time comes. He also states there's a strong emphasis on building and improvised weapons as opposed to weapon customization in 4. I think this is quite important because in Fallout 4 the weapon customization wasn't really needed. I didn't think so. I mean, most of the guns you got from leveling up through the game were already good enough, and I don't know, they usually came with attachments or modifications anyway, so that wasn't a big deal in the first place, and I don't think anyone really utilized that. I think the most I used the weapon customization bench in Fallout was just to rename my weapon to whatever I want, so I don't think that that's really that important, but maybe in this game it will have a more important emphasis. So once again, he states it's not Rust-like, which I think is a good thing. Another important thing is that there's 6 factions, 3 of which are notables, so basically ones that we've seen before, Brotherhood of Steel and these guys, so that should be pretty interesting. 3 new factions, of course, pretty crazy. Even though it's set in a different time frame, there's still other factions that we have seen before, and I don't think the Brotherhood of Steel was developed by this time to the point they were in the other games, so maybe that's not even the faction that he's talking about in this. So we'll just have to wait and see, and I think new factions to the game can revive it and everything like that, which I think is interesting. But Harold making an appearance, as will young First Maxon, okay. And basically laying the groundwork for Fallout 5, which is already in the works. So this game seems to be like a mediator between Fallout 4 and 5, which is interesting because he also says this is what Fallout 4 build system was a test for. Basically, I think that the settlement building system is getting taken to a next level here in Fallout 4 because it was such a story-based game. Only had that on the side, just to test it for this game, which is cool, and I think that there's going to be a lot of new elements and stuff, as well as old ones that they have improved in this game, and I don't know how this game is going to turn out just because it's more based on building and everything like that, but should be interesting because I did enjoy that aspect of Fallout 4 a lot. And then no external mods outside of CC. This is a controversial one. I don't understand how they can just take away mods on Fallout games like this. And they've been switching to this whole creation club thing where you gotta pay to get mods and stuff like that. I don't think that's very popular by the community because as the game dies down, everyone beats the story, and the true Fallout fans only keep playing the game. Mods are what keeps it alive, and I don't think that that's going to have the same effect if you have to pay for the mods, as the game progresses. So I think that's a mistake, definitely something that might get changed in the future. That's about it for this leak from 4chan that I know so far, guys. Anyways, I'm not completely sure that this is all accurate, but everything's making sense if you compare it to the trailer and all the other leaks that have come out. So we'll just have to wait till E3, expect more Fallout 76, Fallout 4 type videos. Until then, thank you guys for listening in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.